Wow, wow, that is freaky. That's Halloween stuff right there, Jay.
Yeah.
Right, Jay, so why don't you tell us a little bit about your story and your brand, since I know I told a little bit about it already, but tell us a little bit about your story, and then we'll try to give people a roadmap for accomplishing similar success.
Absolutely. So let me start a little bit with my backstory. I can compress it all into 3 or 4 minutes so people get a sense of who I am and where I came from. Basically, I'm going to ask you a very important question, Manuel, and this could be life-changing, and your audience should answer this as well. You ready?
Yeah, everybody answer this question, all right? And the comments on YouTube, on Facebook. If you guys are on the podcast listening to this, which you might be, send us a message, all right? And what is the answer to this question? Go for it, Jay.
Okay. First of all, have you ever heard of a TV show or a movie called The Addams Family?
Who hasn't?
Okay, good. And do you remember a character called Thing?
The one that was a hand, right? Yeah.
Yes, it was a hand. It was a moving hand. It could think, it could feel, it could understand. Very good, Manuel. We should hire you to do the next movie. Yeah. And I was in love with this thing when I was a kid. I thought, wouldn't it be a great friend to have? And I used to ask my parents, can you please get me a thing? But unfortunately, stores did not sell intelligent severed hands. So when I was out of high school, I needed to make a little extra money before college. And I was passing by a store and I saw this hand.
Put it more towards that. Yeah, there. They're in the middle of the screen. So put them out, do the other side, your right side. There. We can see it there. Yeah. Wow. That is freaky. That's Halloween stuff right there, Jay.
Yeah. And I saw this in the window and I thought, the thing I loved as a child, it's here. I can't believe it. So I decided.
So for those of you in the podcast, for those of you listening on the podcast, he's showing a hand that looks like the thing, which is, it's an incredible toy right there. Okay, go on, Jay.
Moving around, battery operated. So I decided to sell these hands on the sidewalks of New York City.
Wow.
And I set up a whole display of these hands moving around, doing crazy things. And nobody in New York had ever seen anything like that. And we sold out the first day. And I told my father that night, I'm not going to college. He goes, what are you going to do? I said, I am going to sell hands on the sidewalks of New York City. That's my career.
That is so good. That is so good. Did you call these hands Fing? Did you connect them with Addams Family?
Yeah, absolutely. This was the thing from the Addams Family. Plus, it was a very handy gift for people. And instead of asking for a handout from people, I was actually making my own way.
And here's another lesson, right? Like you actually took a hot subject. Addams Family was hot at that point. A lot of people were consuming it. They were watching the films. It was like super trendy. I remember me being a young child, and I don't know, maybe I was 10, 12 years old, and Addams Family was a big deal in worldwide. So you took something that was hot and you had a passion for it, and you figure out how to get that into a product, which gets connected with something like this. Right? Something unique, something that's trending, something that has a lot of attention. I mean, if you do figures like that before the Trump presidency era, it wouldn't be the same thing, right? So there's something about the timing of it that is very important to what you have done yourself.
Absolutely. I'm going to give people the technique on how you do this because I've repeated the same formula my entire life. But I ended up selling this hand for 7 years of my life. I traveled from New York City to Washington, D.C., to San Francisco. I even went to Japan, and I would just set up on the ground wherever I went and sell hands. Wow. So from that, this is the thing, right? And you know the saying, do your thing, right? Do your thing. So my thing was not thing. My thing was making people smile. I like to make people laugh and smile. And I figured if I could do it with the thing, I could do it with other things as well, other toys. So I started creating toys and novelties, and I ended up selling them to stores and then bigger stores. And pretty soon I was in Walmart, Target, 7-Eleven, Walgreens. We were doing $10 million a year, Manuel, with wholesale.
Wow.
Crazy, crazy toys.
I didn't have that story. I didn't have that full story, Jay. That's amazing. Yeah. So on the retails, you really penetrated the retail stores with these items.
Penetrated the retail stores and did it for like 20 years. And then in 2015, I lost everything. At the age of 54, right? It's easy when you're a young guy to bounce back, but when you lose it when you're that old, the tendency is to think, wow, I'm too old to start again. If I was really going to be successful, I would have already been successful. So I lost everything. I had no money. I had no 401k. I didn't own my house. I had to get rid of all my employees, my factory. I was literally at rock bottom with no assets, and I was $1 million in debt. And that was my entry into online. So that's kind of my backstory.
All right. So I'm so curious about how did you end up losing all of it? Is there a short explanation to that it's not requiring another episode?
Very short. When you wholesale, and this is a good lesson for anybody who thinks, I want to be a wholesaler, I want to sell to stores. When you sell to a store like a Walgreens or a Walmart chain, you have one corporate buyer who decides if your product should be in their stores. So if that buyer thinks that your product is not worthy, you don't get in there. And for some reason, my creative products, my products are really out there. We had a lot of conservative buyers, and they go, no one's going to like your products, Jay. We just don't have faith in you anymore. That's essentially what they said. And nobody would buy from me. So I couldn't connect with the end user because the store buyer, the corporate buyer was standing in my way. So I lost everything. So that's the short answer.
Wow. Okay. All right, but you didn't give up. You felt I got to keep on going and figure something out, and that moved you over to the internet, right on time for a massive explosion on Amazon and a new world of opportunity there.